Today I fucked up by playing with some tubes. This actually happened 13 years ago when I was still 8 years old, but still remains as my worst TIFU my whole life. I was young and stupid at the time, so I was doing the usual annoy your mother while she works thing. She was doing the laundry and I was trying my best to disrupt her efficiency. Honestly, you can't blame her for this FU, as she has to do all the chores and take care of me and my sisters alone at the same time since my dad was overseas. Anyways, we had a laundry hamper that looked like this. It had PVC tubes that can be dismantled, and at the time the tubes were all over the floor. After my mom started the washing machine, she left to take care of my younger sibling. She did tell me to move away from the machine, but my dumbass didn't listen to her. I then had this amazing idea to pick up all the tubes on the floor. Why? I don't know either, but I tried to hold as many of those tubes as I could. My tiny hands can only hold so many though, so my stupid brain had another idea. What if I bit on one, just like how a dog carries a stick? So I then proceed to put one in my mouth sideways, but I couldn't grip it with my mouth, so I bit the end of the tube instead. Yeah, I was literally giving a PVC pipe a blowjob, but guess what? Now there's only 3 tubes on the floor for me to pick up. So I bent over, with one tube in my mouth, to try and pick up the rest. Well, the other end of the tube hit the floor as I bent, and because of a law created by a dead guy 300 years ago, all that force had to go somewhere. In this case it went into my mouth, impaling the ceiling of my mouth with a tube. I recoiled in pain, dropping all the tubes that I was holding. That's when I started tasting the blood. I teared my mouth another hole which bled furiously. I didn't scream because 1, I wasn't a pussy, probably, and 2, because there's blood in my mouth. If I screamed, blood would go to the white clothes on the floor. I'd rather bleed to death than get murdered by my mom for staining blood on her clothes. I skulked in a corner, covering my mouth while trying my best not to cry. Eventually my mom saw me and her nursing instincts kicked in. She's a retired nurse, and by that I mean clogging my mouth with a shirt to stop the bleeding. My memory here was a bit fuzzy. I remember crying while my mom is on the phone calling for help. My uncle who lived nearby then arrived, then rushed us to the hospital. I can barely remember the rest after this. I did remember being carted off in a hospital bed with a blurry vision while a nice nurse asked what my name was, and it was so bright just like in the movies, lol. I woke up on a hospital bed later on with a weird tingling feeling in my mouth. I could feel a hole and some stitches up there. Apparently the moment I arrived at the hospital they sedated me and operated on me right away. Today, it has healed, but there's still like a crater or like a groove that I can feel on the roof of my mouth, but the stitches has smoothed out. TL, drive. Put a PVC tube in my mouth as a kid, bent over which impaled my mouth. Had to do surgery to seal the hole. It's a wonder any of us survived to adulthood. If I screamed, blood would go to the white clothes on the floor. I'd rather bleed to death than get murdered by my mom for staining blood on her clothes. And that's fucking hilarious. Me too, buddy. Me too. I think being an Asian multiplied that fear for me, Lamau. I think my son can relate, if he remembers the incident. I don't deal well with vomit. I think it goes back to a childhood incident. My kids have always been aware that I struggle with cleaning it. My poor 3-year-old boy, at the time, wasn't feeling well, and went to bed more easily than usual. A few hours later I heard a little voice say, "I don't feel good," followed by a cough. I jumped out of bed and sprinted up the stairs to his room just in time to see him start to lean over the side of his bed to finish vomiting. I quickly turned him back toward the bed. When he was done he kept saying, I sorry. I tried not to get sick on the bed. Poor lad. He didn't realize that it was far easier for me to throw the bedding, including mattress protector, in the wash than it was to clean carpet and his bed rails. My daughter was only a couple years older than him, but she stepped up and helped sort him out while I spent the next 30 minutes gagging and scrubbing. Yup, I'm aware how hard cleaning blood stains are, so I tried to avoid that, but I think part of the reason why I just hid was because I was worried that I'd cost my parents money over the injury, so I tried to play it cool. My husband did something similar with a wooden spoon and leaning over the garbage can. This happened when he was 36. Smiley face. I knew a guy who almost died in a similar fashion, but it was a straw. A normal drinking straw. Oh, that's horrible. Maybe it's because a straw is small and could get in and block your esophagus, that's why it'd be worse. Forget the blood from the tube, a mother's wrath is the worst fear on the planet. Today I fucked up by destroying the children's Christmas dreams. So this happened when I was around 7 or so. It was Christmas morning at our grandparents' house and I have 7 younger cousins and a younger brother. We were obviously pumped to get up and open presents and stockings and see if Santa ate the cookies. All that jazz. Well, my uncle got creative and took a boot and put ashes on the bottom of it and then made footprints leading from the fireplace to the tree to make it look like Santa did his thing and came down the chimney. Pretty clever. We all get together and he is marveling at his work and everyone is elated and very impressed. Except me. I notice that Santa only has left feet. So, I say that. Why does Santa only have left feet? Silence. Some of the adults were impressed with my observation, but the kids were very skeptical and needless to say, Santa died for them that Christmas. Too long didn't read, I was an observant child and killed Santa. My daughter asked me to tell her the truth about Santa when she was 7 years old. I figured it was being talked about in school. It was nowhere close to Christmas. I hated lying to her so much about that. So, I took it to the truth side. She was so pissed. She cried because I told her. She cried because she reasoned there was no tooth fairy. That's me, too. Easter bunny? No, that was me, too. She was glad about the bunny. She always hated the treasure hunt he sent her on to find her basket, and got more pissed because I did that to her. It was a mess and I felt bad for her. Reminds me when I got old enough to know Santa wasn't real and I was trying to tell my mom that we should be honest and tell my sister. It was before my bro was born, so I was about 6, and she flat out told me if I ever tried to tell my sister that Santa wasn't real then we would never get presents again, lol. I never mentioned it again. My mom did similar, but just the last part where we didn't get presents, extended family did as good as they could in that regard though. I don't think any of us ever believed in Santa. Do believe we all believed in Bloody Mary though, basically the same thing. He doesn't have only left feet, honey. He just hops from side to side on his left foot. Nervous sweating backslash. That might actually be creepier lol. You've only ever seen Santa wear the same clothes, right? But he still has to wash or he'd smell. That means he has a lot of the same outfits. But Santa was in a hurry, and he accidentally put on 2 left shoes and didn't have time to go back and change, or some kids would end up without presents. That would probably buy a couple more years. I figured out the truth myself when I was 9. Oh man op. If it makes you feel any better, you technically did it accidentally. I purposefully, out of spite and bitterness at 14, told my 2-year-old brother Santa was Amazon Prime. My mom was pissed I did that, and I countered back with the fact that she took me Black Friday shopping since I was a baby. I picked out my own gifts, never believed in Santa, and turned out fine. Today I fucked up by insulting my friend's birthday gift right before he gave it to me. My birthday was last month and I went out with a few friends. We ended up at an M&M store which had tons of overpriced M&M gifts and souvenirs. I love mini M&Ms and made that known as I walked in, but I also made it known I wasn't going to buy anything because it was expensive and I'm unemployed. My friend agreed, but started to ask me to help him find something cool with mini M&Ms. This should have tipped me off, but it didn't. He's never been frugal with his money, so didn't think much and helped him find something for himself. We stood in line to pay for the things and I picked apart every item in the checkout line for its price. Oh, this bag sells for $4 at Walmart, but you slap an M&M store logo on it and it's suddenly $15. What a rip-off. These plastic containers cost 5 cents. Nothing special about them, damn. I already feel like such an ass for even doing that. He pays for his things, we exit the store, and he hands me a bag full of mini M&M gifts and says I don't even like M&Ms, happy birthday. I'm a dick. I said thank you 5 times and savored each and every one of those M&Ms because that was extremely thoughtful and I'm an asshole. Rob, I'm sorry man lol. Too long didn't read, insulted overpriced M&Ms and anyone who buys them while my friend was in the process of buying them for me, without me knowing. I mean, you were insulting them as he was buying them. If you not liking the price mattered to him, he probably wouldn't have bought anything. Enjoy your M&Ms. Mini is great, but peanut butter is my go-to. He actually ended up getting me something that had peanut butter and even pretzel M&Ms as well. I really enjoyed them, haha. It's been years since I bought either kind for myself because of my love for minis. I think you were just subconsciously protecting yourself from disappointment since you were trying to be financially responsible. I'm sure your friend thinks that too. Plus, the best gifts to give are the ones the recipient wouldn't/couldn't get for themselves. What's the timeline here? It's one thing to dissuade a friend from paying for something you feel is overpriced, but another to insult someone who's just bought something. Whether it's for you or not. Oh, I didn't insult him after he bought it, that would be fucked up. And I wasn't insulting his exact items, just stuff I was seeing in the checkout line that was definitely overpriced. I felt super bad because it was a gift for me. We've all been bad with our money at times and call each other out on it as friendly banter.